So here's the plan. I've got two of these, one on this side, one on this side here, that are 4 by 2, so there's 8 pockets in each one. And then I'm going to put out a matching set for each one on the Jiffy pot, the Jiffy tabs, Jiffy, whatever they call them. And then what I'm going to do is I will put 2 of each kind of these seeds into 2 into the Jiffy pot, 2 into the Jiffy tabs, whatever. So each one plant will have 4 plants and a double chance of making it through this experiment for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got to get these wet, get them to swell up, fill these with potting soil. I'm not going to bore you with that, and I'll be back when all that's done and I get them planted and everything, and we'll have a short discussion about the initial outlay, if I remember to do that. I hope I do. And then we'll go from there. So I'll be back then. Okay, getting ready to plant my seed in here. And like I said, I'll do like the Wisconsin, these are picklers. I'll do 2 in here and 2 in here. I have tag to put there. I don't know that everything on this side is that. And then what I did is yesterday I put all these in here and I put water in them and let them soak up all the water, and then I put it on a heat mat and put a humidity top on it to hold in that heat so that all of this stuff would come to warmer temperatures, which brings me to the actual reason I'm doing this. As a lot of you already know, I live in a cooler climate, and so our growing season isn't as long as a lot of places, and so therefore I have certain things that are quite a challenge to grow. So I've always read that things like squash, cucumbers, melons, that you can't start them and then transplant them, that disturbing the roots the slightest little bit affects them greatly. So I'm experimenting. This whole thing is basically an experiment as to, can I actually start these things early so that I can extend the season and get out. You know, like last year, my cantaloupe never even put a flower on, let alone a melon. So this year I'm going to be trying to extend my season out and see if I can have a little better luck. But in the process, we're going to learn what works better, these Jiffy strips or the Jiffy pellets. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Okay, I don't know how well we can see here, but it's been right at 3 weeks. This is the 27th. I planted these on the 6th of April. And you can see how well they've done in 3 weeks. This is... I've replanted everything here that's missing one, but I think initially I can see that these actually seem to be outperforming these, because these 4 are the same plant. These are spaghetti squash. These here are cooking neck squash, and you see I've got the true leaf here, and I'm just barely getting it there. So right up, but you know, some of them, like here, this is loofah, and that's really not much different. This is my Armenian, that's a cucumber, and it's not much different, but I would say on the whole that the strips are outperforming the tabs so far. But this whole test is more about what's going to happen when I transplant them into the ground, which ones are going to actually take off and produce for the summer. Anyhow, I just thought I'd show you the 3 week of development. I need to wait about another 2 weeks, and we should be warm enough to start putting these kind of plants in the ground. I just hope it doesn't outgrow everything in those 2 weeks. They've really done really nice. Anyhow, I'll catch you later with another update. Bye. Okay, so now we're back. Today is the 12th of May. The 10th is my average last frost date, and we're still staying cool, but overnight predictions are above freezing, so we're going to start planting. Now, back to my experiment here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the differences in the plants between the strips, what I grew in the strips, and what I grew in these pellets. Now, this first one here is a spaghetti squash. And if you see the size of this plant here, we're talking, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves, versus the best one in here has got, what, 2, 4, 5. That's quite a bit smaller. And you'll find that right down the row, this next one is crookneck squash. And then these are the strips, and these are the pellets. And you can see here, there's a pellet one. He's just got one long leaf, and these here have these big double branches, and they're doing really nice. So ultimately, the strips outproduced the pellets as far as growing size. If we look at the health of the plants, they seem to be about the same. I got some yellowing. That's going to indicate either the plants have been in there long enough, they've used up all the nutrients, or they're overwatered. And it's a possibility of both. Now here, see on my loofahs, all 4 of them look the same. There's no one that did any better than the others. Yes, we did get some hail, and so there is a little damage there, but I think we'll survive. Here you can see here, this is my Armenian cucumbers here, and the flats have one good, one barely, and the pellets have one good, one barely. So anyhow, I would say that the flats overall did better. Whether or not it's that much better is hard to say. But when we compare them also at cost, now the flats cost me basically 10 cents a hole. There's 80 cents a piece for these, about 10 of them for $8. These were 50 cents a piece. So right there we have a variance of 40 cents per plant difference. However, I had to supply the potting soil in these pots here, where this comes with their potting soil. So did I put in 40 cents worth of potting soil here? The price of some of this potting soil, I might have. But I would say ultimately that this is probably half the price of these. And yet they're producing better than these overall. So anyhow, the next thing is I'm going to put them in the ground. The things I'm going to do in these here, okay, I don't know how well you can see this, but I will remove this whole exterior if I can, because as you can see, roots don't like to come through there. I do have some that have a few roots coming through, but they're being strangulated. I don't care what the company says. However, on these, you will need to remove the top. Everything that's above the potting soil has to be removed, because if it sticks out of the ground, it's going to get dry, and it'll dry wick down to your roots, and your roots will be dry even though the top of the ground appears wet. So make sure you remove these all the way down to the potting soil when you plant those. And one other thing I'd like to say is, I know in my gardener, Luke over there, he did not like these because he said that the whole outside of them was covered in mold, but he grows his in the basement in a lot moister climate. You can see mine is completely fine. So I think a lot of it might have to do with your growing environment. Are you in a humid place? Does it stay humid? Questions like that. It worked just fine for me. I understand his complaint because when I lived in Oklahoma, I did have issues with these molding. But here in the New Mexico, they do great in this arid southwest. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and put these in the ground. I'll wait a week or two, and then I'll video as to what makes it and what doesn't. and then I can get this video up so we'll all know. And I'll talk to y'all later. Okay, let's take a look at the end results of my experiment here with my plants. These are the zucchini type squash, either yellow, straight neck, the crooked neck, and I had some green. All the plants did well, or have done well so far. On this end of the bed is where I have started the seed, and they're not even coming up yet, although the seed's been in the ground probably better than a week. But we've been rather cool this time of year, actually rather wet too. Here's the pumpkins that I had going. They're doing good. And then I got that spaghetti squash there. It's doing good. You see I got some Oyas there to go with them. Hang on here. We'll be right back here looking at the other one. Hey, alrighty, these are the cucumber. These were the little picklers, and all four of those did good. Now I alternated them. This one and this one was in the round tabs. This one and this one was in the square flats. Same thing with here. That was in a square flat. That was in a square flat. That plant and that plant was in the round tabs. Those are gone. They did not make it. These are stunted, but they're starting to pick up. So I personally won't use well, can't say I won't use the round tabs because I still got 35 of them I ain't used. And I'm, yeah. Anyhow, you can see I've got some coming up here from seed. So the only other thing left, and I'm not going to include it on this video, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. But the only other thing left is to see how much later I pick from the ones I put in by seed versus the one I put the plants in. My father had done this eons ago and had told me that he did it with tomatoes. He planted seed at the same day that he put the plants in the ground. He said, and he picked the ones that grew from the seed in the ground only a week later than the plants. So we'll see and see if this is all worth it. But anyhow, that's going to wrap up my video on the pellets versus the strips. I think you know what I think of them. And I'll let you all make up your own mind, and take care.